Hey, welcome to the reaction to the fourth and final reading of Chapter 4 of How to Lose a Planet, the Afrofuture Epic. Every reaction, you get something I liked, a storytelling tip, and something that's true. So let's start with something I liked. I like to use the color, like the yellow hexagons with the lime green circles. It just kind of harkens back to movies like Blade Runner or even more recently, Altered Carbon on Netflix, where you have these rundown futuristic cities that feel kind of dark and grim, but there's always like these neon lights. It's almost like Vegas feel to it because no matter how poor or grimy or gritty a city can be, people still want to party. So that's just kind of why I threw in the bright lights and stuff like that. A storytelling tip. This is a good one. Ask yourself how setting factors into who your characters are. So at some point during this chapter, Lacey says about her dead gangster father that he was a piece of shit. And instinctively, or actually intentionally, I wrote, my daddy is a piece of shit, because I wanted to use the affectionate term daddy and piece of shit to kind of illustrate the complications within Lacey's feelings, but also while she's driving through a city that's being illustrated as being run and run down by gangsters. Her father was a gangster, so now we're seeing Lacey's relationship with her father, Lacey's relationship with the city, and Lacey's relationship with herself. So the setting and all the stories about the castrations and the blood and the violence wasn't just because like blood and violence are cool, it's because they relate to who Lacey is and what she's going through and who she'll be as her story unfolds. Like if I had set that scene in, say, a coffee shop and she just ordered a donut and says, my daddy was a piece of shit, that setting completely changes the tenor, the texture, the tone, the meaning behind Lacey saying that. But in the scene where she's being forced to do something against her will, a prison break, and saying her daddy was a piece of shit and comparing and contrasting daddy with a piece of shit while driving through this city that's run down, that was all intentional. That was all me just trying to have the setting of the city meet Lacey in an emotional place to the point where she says, my daddy was a piece of shit, which I think is a pretty big revelation. Anyway, that was my attempt. Don't know how successful I was. And something true. Okay, so there was nothing specific in this reading that felt true, that really harkened back to some true moment, but this is a chance to actually talk about why I want to do an Afrofuturism story. Mostly because someone had once said that in stories in the future where there are black people, often the stories forget that black people aren't just white people with melanin. Like black people, like being black is a real social construct. Like I remember at some point I realized that Billy D. Williams is black. Lando Calrissian is not, because Billy D. Williams was raised black in America. Lando Calrissian is a character in Star Wars that was situated in a place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, where the categorizations of white people and black people didn't exist. But he does look like me, so that was kind of cool that Lando Calrissian was a person who looked like black people, and that was also kind of in response to the criticism of the original Star Wars, because Carl Sagan was like, yeah, it's weird that everybody in this movie is white, which is pretty cool on Carl Sagan's part. But I wanted a story where just black people are alive in the future, because for as fun as being black can be, it can also be pretty deadly. Sometimes I'd be in grad school looking at an empty seat and thinking, damn, Trayvon Martin could be sitting there, or Breonna Taylor, or Tamir Rice. Like these are thoughts that literally going through my head while I'm trying to focus on the course material. So I just wanted to see a future where there are black people, being black, living their lives, having fun. Deuces.